Good morning, and a very warm welcome to you all today. My name is Christine Briand, and the UCW will be leading the service today. We welcome all of those in-house and those joining us online. Everyone present, please take your seats. Reverend Peter is away on study leave until Wednesday, October 26th. In the event of a pastoral emergency, please contact Doug Stewart. His contact numbers are available in the bulletin. You may be wondering why we're all here today. This, I'm going to say, gorgeous group of women. It is Women's History Month in Canada, and we're celebrating the 30th anniversary of that this year. October was selected as Women's History Month to coincide with the Persons case. Now, there's a small bit of information about the Persons case in your program, but I'll give you a little bit because it's actually an incredibly exciting story. In 1916, a woman named Emily Murphy was appointed to be the police magistrate, the first ever woman in Alberta. And at the time, in the law, women were not considered people. I don't know what category we fit, but we were not people. So her appointment was challenged, and the Alberta Supreme Court said, that's ridiculous. Of course she's a person. She can have that job. But she's only a person in Alberta, not the rest of the Canada, which is quite an exciting feat for her if she were ever to travel to Saskatchewan. So decades of petitioning to get the federal government to recognize that if she were to leave Alberta, or if any other woman were trying to hold a position, that they also could be considered people. The Supreme Court of Canada was asked to decide, does the Act, the British North America Act, which controls our country, include females? And unanimously, they said no. At the time, there was one more course of action, which was the British House of Lords. So a group of letters went to the British House of Lords to say, surely, women who bear children, who live in our communities, can be considered equal under the law. The government of the day, the British House of Lords, said, yes, of course they are. And their response actually said, the exclusion of women from all public office is a relic of days more barbarous than our own. And those who would ask why the word persons should include females, the obvious answer is why should it not? 30 years ago, the Canadian federal government decided to give the month of October to celebrate all those women or those recognizing or identifying as women. We can celebrate their feats, their actions, their accomplishments. We do still recognize that the early decision only included Caucasian women, not women of color, not the Indigenous community, and those are battles we're still having. Throughout October, we have been presenting a selection of fabulous and amazing women on the back covers of the bulletin. This week's is no different. We celebrate the newest moderator for the United Church of Canada. Her story is very interesting, and she can find all the details on the bulletin. The next Sunday at 1 o'clock, the service for remembrance takes place here at St. James, and it is the kickoff for the Poppy service. Correct? Excellent. Was there any more?
I didn't know I was going to be speaking, so I don't have notes, which means I'll talk too long. I'm sorry. Most of you by now have heard about the Antigonish Community Fridge and Pantry. It's located on the right-hand side of the Farmers Market building. Everybody should know where that is. This is an initiative which was developed in conjunction with a number of groups and led by our own Antigonish Women's Resource Centre. And if you happen to be listening to CBC Radio 1 last week, you would have heard our own Wyan Sandler speaking very clearly on the subject of rural poverty here in Nova Scotia. And that's why we have the community fridge. We have a very well-stocked food bank, but it is not openly available every day. The community fridge is. People are free to go to the fridge or pantry and remove whatever food they feel they need in order to get through the week or the month or until the next source of income comes in. The problem is that the community fridge is not self-filling. It needs our help. And this is why I'm urging as many people as possible to think of dropping off something, whether it's beverages or dried food, packaged food, cereal, sanitary items. All of these things cost a tremendous amount of money, and I don't think I need to tell anybody at all about the cost of living. You're all living the same life as we are. So the only stipulation is that they request you don't leave meat or dairy or home-baked products. There are reasons for that the Department of Agriculture has laid out, so we don't argue with them. Our community fridge is also accepting donations of pet food, dog or cat food, because just because a person is struggling financially doesn't mean they have to tell the kids that they have to get rid of the family pet. So if you can volunteer a donation in that regard, it would be gratefully accepted. When the guidelines change, I will make certain to let you know, either through the bulletin, or Michèle will let you know through the bulletin, or I'll get up here and blather on again. Thank you for your time. Thanks, Christine.
Following today's service, everyone is welcome to join in coffee and conversation in the hall directly following the service. Today you will find information tables for the Prayer Shawl Ministry and the United Church Women. Also, the last reminder before we get rolling, the Connections Autumn Edition is out today. It is available in the back if you haven't picked it up, and it will be online for our online friends in a day or two. Now, if you could rise as you are able, and we will sing the introit. Creator has designed a beautiful world, a world where each one can have what is needed to live fully. When we nurture and share Earth's sacred abundance, as we gather for worship, we do so with gratitude. Let us worship our Creator God, for we have been deeply blessed, and renew our commitment to be a blessing. And then together, our beloved Creator, we open our hearts to your wisdom, to the thoughts that calm us, the ideas that provoke us, the teachings that expand us, the insights that challenge us, the ideas that inspire us. Work in us as we worship today. We are open and ready for your wisdom unfolding. Amen.
Is that sometimes what happens to some people in the world is they have to run from their home real that when you give some money to the church, or your parents give money, the church gives that money to something called mission service. And the mission service takes that and talks to another group called Canadian Food Grains Bank. You're not going to be tested on this information, but just so you know, right? So they take that, and then they use that to buy food for people who had to run away from their homes without time to take anything with them. And I'm going to show you what you get. I'm going to show you what you get for a meal, all right? This is salt. All right? This is oil. Oil is very useful. And I don't really understand all the chemical properties why, but you need it all the time in your book. And this is a 1/4 cup of lentils. And it could be beans too. Lentils and beans have lots of fiber and lots of protein. And this is 2 1/4 cups of flour. Or it could be rice too. What would you do if you had this to cook with? What would you think? This is it. This was going to be it. This was it. You would get this twice a day. Yes. You do what with the oil?
Eggs, because of oil.
Yes. We don't get the eggs. The eggs would be great. So what would you do? You have to make. You could add some water. You can make like a little bread. You could add some water to this too. Put the salt in, and you have a little bowl of lentils. Okay. So the Canadian Food Grains Bank does is they provide people. Each person gets 1 ration. This whole thing is called a ration for a meal, and then they'll do it for 2 meals a day. All right. Now I don't know about you, but I might get a little bored with that. Would you get a little bored kind of quick? I know. So that's one reason why we also pray for peace. So people don't have to run away from their home and leave everything, all the good foods behind. Right? Does that make sense, everyone? Okay. A lot of people have to run away from home. You know, sometimes there's a war and someone's going to try to hurt them. Sometimes there's like a hurricane like we had a few weeks ago, but they might be even worse than what happened. Sometimes there's what's called a drought, where there's just everything stopped growing. Well, it's not very fun, is it? That is why we pray for peace. And we try to take some action on climate change to stop those things from happening. Okay? Yeah. And now, any other questions from the crowd? You're good? All right, now put your hands together, close your eyes, and we're going to say the prayer that Jesus taught us. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen.
The responsive reading is Psalm 107, verses 33 to 37, on page 832 in Voices United. You turn rivers into desert, springs of water into thirsty ground. But you turn desert into standing pools, dry land into springs of water. They sow fields and plant vineyards. that yield a fruitful harvest. Whoever is wise, ponder these things. The first reading is from Isaiah 55, verses 1 to 13. Hear everyone who thirsts, come to the waters, and you have no money. Come, buy and eat. Come buy wine and milk without money and without price. Why do you spend your money for that which is not bread, and your earnings for that which does not satisfy? Listen carefully to me and eat what is good, and delight yourselves in rich food. Incline your ear and come to me. Listen so that you may live. I will make with you everlasting covenant, my steadfast, sure love for David. See, I made him a witness to the peoples, a leader and commander for the peoples. Now you shall call nations that you do not know, and nations that do not know you shall run to you, because of the Lord your God, the Holy One of Israel, for he has glorified you. Seek the Lord while he may be found. Call upon him while he is near. Let the wicked forsake their way, and the unrighteous their thoughts. Let them return to the Lord, that he may have mercy on them, and to your God for the all-abundant pardon. For my thoughts are not your thoughts, nor are your ways my ways, says the Lord. For as the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts. For as the rain and the snow come down from heaven, and do not return there until they have watered the earth, making it bring forth and sprout, giving seed to the sower and bread to the eater, so shall my word be that goes out from my mouth. It shall not return to me empty, but it shall accomplish that which I purpose and succeed in the thing for which I sent it. For you shall go out in joy and be led back in peace. The mountains and the hills before you shall burst into song, and all the trees of the field shall clap their hands. Instead of the from shall come up. Instead of the thorn shall come up the cypress. Instead of the briar shall come up the myrtle. And I shall be to the Lord for a memorial, for an everlasting sign that shall not be cut off.
Our second reading is from James chapter 2, verses 14 to 17. What good is it, my brothers and sisters, if someone claims to have faith but does not have works? Surely that faith cannot save, can it? If a brother or sister is naked and lacks daily food, and one of you says to them, "Go in peace, keep warm, and eat your fill," and yet you do not supply their bodily needs, what is the good of that? So too, faith by itself, if it does not result in action, is dead.
Through
today is called Buy Without Price, and it's taken from services were suggested for the UCW women. About 3.5 decades ago, I met a young, skinny redhead in the sergeant's mess in Lahr, Germany. I found him so captivating that I asked the friend who'd introduced us to keep my phone number on her at all times, hoping he'd ask for it. Well, in those days, Tim was a bit shy, so it took him a good month to get around to phoning me. But I think it's safe to say we were both interested in each other right off the bat. Isaiah 55 is like that. It had me at the first 2 lines.
Come everyone who is thirsty, come to the waters. Also you that have no money, come buy and eat. Come buy wine and milk without money, without price.
How do you buy without price? How do you eat without price? In Canada, food prices are rising, pushing more and more people to the brink. A report released by Food Banks Canada states that 1 in 5 Canadians, 7 million people, reported going hungry at least once between March 2020 and March 2022. According to Food Banks Canada's CEO, Kirsten Beardsley, 61% of Canadians now believe that rising house costs are the biggest barrier preventing Canadians from being able to afford food, a sentiment that has doubled in the past year alone.
Come everyone who is thirsty, come to the waters. Also you that have no money, come buy, eat. Come buy wine and milk without money, without price.
These verses in Isaiah 55 were addressed to displaced people, Israelites who had been forcibly deported to Babylon when Jerusalem was destroyed. They were not well fed. In fact, everything about their lives had been turned upside down. And here God is offering water, wine, bread, milk, all the essential goods of the promised land, free.
Come everyone who is thirsty, come to the waters. Also, you that have no money, come buy and eat. Come buy wine and milk without money and without law.
About 4.5 decades ago, when I was a young, newly arrived private in Chilliwack, British Columbia, I was pretty shy myself then, and was struggling to get out and meet others socially. At some point, a delightful padre at the church I'd started attending and his wife invited me to supper at their home, along with several other young single folks. I was thrilled at the invitation, and it was there that I started to come out of my shell and realized I had to get out more and force myself to socialize, no matter how uncomfortable it sometimes made me feel. When have you been overjoyed to receive an invitation? Instead of telling people living in poverty to go away in the Isaiah passage, God issues an open invitation to come. Come to the waters. Come, buy, and eat. And there are other imperative verbs in these short verses like listen, call upon him, and seek the Lord. These aren't harsh orders. They're more like persistent invitations extended to everyone regardless of financial means. Some commentators interpret Isaiah 55 in a symbolic way. They believe the food referred to in the passage is spiritual rather than material. Yet it's very difficult to know where one ends and the other begins, as the Bible is concerned with both physical and spiritual hunger.
Come everyone who is thirsty, come to the waters. Also, you that have no money, come buy and eat. Come. Buy wine and milk without money and without price.
I think Isaiah 55 is profoundly economically subversive. Let's consider the line, buy without price. Isn't it annoying when you go to a store and get to the cash only to find there is no price tag on an item you intend to purchase? You know how it goes. A salesperson is called to go searching while everyone in the line behind you mutters under their breath and glares holes in your back. Wouldn't it be a shock if the cashier told you the food you're about to purchase didn't have a price because it's free? And wouldn't everyone else in line change their tune if they found out their purchases were free too? Wouldn't you think, what's going on here? What's the point of specifying buying and then adding without price? Isaiah was imagining an entirely new system, a system where all the essentials are available equally for everyone.
Come everyone who is thirsty, come to the waters. Also you that have no money, come buy and eat.
Food security has always been an issue, but the pandemic, as well as wheat shortages resulting from the war in Ukraine, have catapulted us to the brink of a massive hunger crisis. Right now, more than 50 million people are facing starvation, almost double the number in 2019. We have never needed to hear Isaiah's words more.
Come everyone who is thirsty, come to the waters. Also, you that have no money, come, buy and eat. Come, buy wine and milk without money and without price.
Isaiah's vision lifts up hope for a renewed world. His is a vision guided by deep spirituality, bold discipleship, and daring justice. This vision has not been realized, but it does shine before us, a kind of holy beacon drawing us toward love. I'm very proud of our church's hot meal program. We definitely assist many folks by providing 1 or 2 hot meals weekly when we're not shut down by pandemics or hurricanes. In years when it's been possible, we've provided a Christmas dinner to a large number of people. We are also encouraged to donate to our local food bank here at St. James, something that has fallen by the wayside since COVID. Perhaps we could take it up more seriously again now. There is a box in the back of the church where we can leave things for the food bank. We maintain a benevolent fund that Reverend Peter uses to help people in need out with gift certificates to local restaurants. And through mission and service, we meet many immediate needs, both locally, nationally, and internationally. Women for Change Zambia is one of over 100 partners supported through mission and service. Since its inception in 1992, the organization has mobilized communities to share ideas and best practices, including the topic of food sustainability. Today, 1,500 community groups are meeting there regularly, each one gathering 25 to 40 people. Groups discuss how they can save and share seeds, what they can plant for longer or shorter rains, and if there are traditional methods that can increase food production. Altogether, 37,000 people have learned and supported each other to address food insecurity. What an incredible impact. But what is really touching is how Lumba Sayanga, whom I had the pleasure of hearing speak in Sydney in June and actually met, the executive director of Women for Change, describes our relationship. The United Church has been supporting us since 1995 and has been there for us through really challenging times. What sets the United Church apart is that you don't just give us money, you want to get to know us. It's a different approach. We really have a relationship. It's a true partnership. When we give through mission and service, we are not only providing financial support, but also our generosity unfolds within a mutually caring relationship. It's the difference between dropping food on a doorstep and sitting down for a meal with someone. By getting to know our partners, we not only take our lead from them about how best to provide tangible support, but we also give and receive spiritual care through relationship building.
Come everyone who is thirsty, come to the waters. Also you that have no money, come, buy and eat. Come, buy wine and milk without money and without price.
The Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations created World Food Day on October 16, 1945. The goal is to free humanity from hunger and malnutrition and to effectively manage the global food system. People just like you and I in over 150 countries recognize this day alongside us. We share Isaiah's vision, where there is enough to go around and an open invitation to the table. Let's not be daunted by the enormity of the vision and challenge, but let us continue to be committed to doing our part to make it a reality.
Come everyone who is thirsty, come to the waters. Also, you that have no money, come, buy and eat. Come, buy wine and milk without money and without price.
Together we can build a better world. Amen.
Mission is an update on the work ongoing in Ukraine. Since the Russian invasion of Ukraine began on February 24th, Mission and Service Partners have been responding to the needs of those impacted by the war. Here's an update about some of the ways your generosity is helping to provide life-saving support through our global partnerships. With the freezing cold of winter looming, ACT Alliance, Action by Churches Together, is working hard to ensure that those affected by the conflict have safe, warm, and dignified accommodation. As schools are being used to shelter refugees and internally displaced people, ACT is making certain children can continue to access education. In the earliest days of the crisis, one of our partners, Hungarian Interchurch Aid, opened welcome points at borders for those driving and walking across the border, and transitioned to support those arriving by train. They now have opened a centralized refugee hub. In Poland, our partner, the Lutheran World Federation, is hosting cash support centers, providing refugee families with money to meet their basic needs. Throughout the affected regions, Mission and Service Partners are helping people access essentials like food, water, and hygiene. Church leaders are also on the ground, providing spiritual comfort. Father Eugen Uma is a Romanian Orthodox priest who is staffing a refugee welcome center in Sculeni, Romania. It is important to have priests here, he says. When someone sees a priest, it reminds them of God and gives them courage to face what is to come. Our church partners are at the forefront of the emergency response in Ukraine, with help from faithful supporters like you. Your generosity serves as a reminder of the loving Spirit of God, providing care and encouragement when and where it is needed most. Thank you for your ongoing support.
Each week we bring to this church our offerings. It may be in the form of using our talents, or volunteering, or in the form of a financial donation. All are equally important to support our church, so that we may be able to spread the love and fellowship of God through our community. Let us join together using the prayer found in our bulletin to dedicate our offerings to the work of God. O God, bless us to share our daily bread, healthy portions of compassion and love, not out of guilt or duty or an eye to what we might receive in return, but humbly in the way of Jesus, such that his grace is needed through all our daily offerings, broken open, blessed, and shared with both the loneliest stranger and the deepest friend. Amen. Let us now join together in our prayers of the people. And as we begin to pray, I invite you to take some deep breaths and be open to God's wisdom and grace. In the silence of your hearts, give thanks to God for one food that you enjoy. Give thanks for someone you love breaking bread with. Give thanks for a food producer or farmer you may know. Give thanks for a group addressing food insecurity. Give thanks for our mission and service partners who are supporting people around the globe who have very little to eat. Give thanks for our local hot meal program, which relies on volunteers and donations to help us bring nourishment of the body and the soul. We thank you, O God, for giving us the opportunity to help others who are in need of hearing of your love and caring in their lives. Amen. Please stand as you are able for our final hymn. And our More Voices, number 120, My Soul Cries Out.
Thank you.
Let us go forward into the world in peace and dedicate it to your service, O Lord. Let us hold fast to that which is good. Render to no person evil for evil. Strengthen the faint-hearted. Support the weak. Help the needy and the afflicted. And honor all people. Let us love and serve the Lord, rejoicing in the power of his Spirit. And may God's blessing be upon us and remain with us always. Amen.